guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about something really sad and kind of confusing. The death of actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner. You probably know him from The Cosby Show, but right now the world is talking about how he died. At first it looked like a simple accident, but now there are a lot of questions and even some strange stories coming out. So here's what we know so far. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was on a family vacation in Costa Rica with his daughter. It was supposed to be a fun trip. But sadly, news came out that Malcolm had drowned. The first report said it was an accident. He was at the beach, got caught in a strong current, and couldn't make it back to shore. That alone is heartbreaking. But here's where it gets even more emotional. Just before his death, Malcolm posted a video where he had a flower in his hair. He said his daughter placed the flower there, and he was wearing it because it was her birthday. In the video, he was smiling and spreading love. He even said, "There's always a reason to smile, even when life gets hard." A lot of fans thought it was kind of symbolic, like he left a message without knowing what was about to happen. Now, this is where things start to get a little confusing. The official report from Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Agency, called OIJ, said that Malcolm was at the beach with his daughter on July 20th. They said he was not in the water with her. Instead, they claimed he was playing with her near the shore, then went into the ocean with a friend. That's when both of them got caught in the current. The friend made it out, but Malcolm didn't. But wait, other people who were actually at the scene say something different. Albert Lyon, who is the chief of the tourist police in that part of Costa Rica, says Malcolm was in the water with his daughter. In fact, he says Malcolm was trying to save her when they both got pulled by the rip current. According to the officer, the Red Cross had to treat the little girl right there at the beach. Luckily, she didn't need to go to the hospital. That's a big difference. Why did OIJ say the daughter wasn't in the water at all? And why are they still standing by that story when someone who was actually there says something else? The officer also said that the water in that area is known for being very dangerous. He said the current was strong, and even though Malcolm fought to save his daughter, he couldn't do it. But two people nearby saw what was happening and rushed in with a surfboard and boogie board. They were able to get the girl onto one of the boards, and even though the current was pulling them, one of the rescuers pushed the board toward the shore to save her. So now there are two different stories. One says Malcolm was just swimming with a friend. The other says he was a hero who risked and lost his life trying to save his daughter. But why don't the official reports match the eyewitness accounts? Now here's where things start to feel even more strange. After fans heard about the two different stories of how Malcolm-Jamal Warner died, people started asking other questions. Like, why weren't there any lifeguards at the beach at the time of the drowning? That's a big deal. You would think a popular beach would have someone watching the water, especially if the currents are known to be dangerous. Later on, the beach company, Playa Grande Pacific, made a statement on Facebook to answer that question. They said they were very sorry about what happened to Malcolm. They explained that he was taken by a strong rip current and drowned before anyone could get to him. Even though some people on the beach tried to help, it all happened too fast. The company also said he had no vital signs when he was pulled out of the water, and CPR on the beach didn't work. But then they added something interesting. The company said there had been other water accidents recently, so they had moved their lifeguards to different beaches nearby. They said those places had stronger currents and needed more help. So they weren't able to have a lifeguard at the beach where Malcolm was. The company also said they've saved many lives in the past, but they need more support from the government and local businesses. Otherwise, drownings like this will keep happening. Still, a lot of people didn't feel like that was a good enough answer. Fans were already upset about the confusing details of the accident. And now, knowing there were no lifeguards at all made the situation feel even worse. Like maybe his death could have been prevented if someone had been watching the water. And while all of this was going on, there were new rumors spreading online that made people even more suspicious. Some sources were saying that Malcolm's wife had contacted a lawyer less than 24 hours after he died. And what did she allegedly do? She allegedly changed the beneficiary of Malcolm's $12 million in property and investments, making herself the person who would get it all. Not only that, but it was also said that she wouldn't let Malcolm's daughter see him one last time before they handled the body, and she reportedly didn't want an autopsy done at first either. Some people found that really strange. Like, why would someone make those decisions so quickly, especially when the death was so sudden and tragic? And that's not all. The word allegedly keeps being used because nothing has been 100% confirmed, but the stories were spreading fast. People online started wondering, was something being covered up? Why was the wife in such a hurry to handle legal stuff before the family had time to grieve? And if there were already questions about how Malcolm really died, this just made things even more confusing and sad. But that's not the only person who's been raising eyebrows. So let's talk about someone who knew Malcolm-Jamal Warner personally, his ex, Regina King. Now, a lot of people didn't expect her to say anything when he passed away. And that's because their breakup wasn't just a little argument, it was actually really painful. But even with all of that history between them, Regina still posted a very heartfelt message on social media after the news of his death came out. She posted a picture of Malcolm on a motorcycle and wrote, "Some people leave a lasting imprint, not just for who they were, but for the energy they carried." She also said she was sending love and prayers to his family. Then she posted another photo with the caption, "Ride in Power." Fans were honestly shocked. Not because Regina was being kind, she's known for being classy, but because of how Malcolm treated her in the past. You see, they had known each other for years, even back in the 1980s when they were both young TV stars. Then, in 2011, they finally started dating for real. At first, it looked like a perfect match, and they kept things private to protect their relationship from drama. But 2 years later, everything fell apart. In March 2013, out of nowhere, Malcolm ended the relationship. And it wasn't just a regular breakup. Regina said she was completely blindsided. She and her son were actually living with Malcolm at the time, and he told both of them to move out, like no warning, just it's over. And if that isn't shocking enough, it happened on Valentine's Day. Yep, the day that's supposed to be all about love. That's when he broke up with her. Regina later said in an interview that he sent her flowers after the breakup. Flowers that said, "I still love you," but she threw them in the trash. When he got mad that she threw them away, that made things even worse. Imagine getting dumped on Valentine's Day, then being guilt-tripped for not keeping the sad bouquet. It was honestly so harsh, especially after everything they had shared. Regina was really hurt. She even told people later that she didn't want to date again after that. She said she was too focused on work and didn't want to go through that kind of heartbreak again. Then, years later, something even more painful happened to her. Her only son took his own life. When she did her first interview afterward, she said she was still learning to live with the pain. She talked about how grief is a journey, and sometimes her son's absence felt really loud. But she also said that being his mum was the thing she loved most about herself. That's why her tribute to Malcolm meant so much. She didn't have to say anything, but she did. And some people think she might be the only one really asking the right questions now. Questions that no one else seems ready to answer. Because with all the things that are still unclear about Malcolm's death, with all the strange stories about the wife, and with Regina's quiet but powerful words, what exactly did she mean when she said Malcolm left behind an energy? And why are fans now saying that Regina might know more than she's letting on? Stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe, because what happens next might change everything.